So I did my presentation on ear and facial piercings. So I'll just start by going through some of the historical evidence that piercings have been around for a long time. This is Otzi the Mummy. He is the very first recording we have of someone with their ears pierced. He was found in an Austrian ice block in 1991, and after they examined him, they found out his ears were pierced and stretched to about 7 millimeters. And he supposedly lived between 3001 and 4000 BC. So, like with this information, we know that piercings dated back to like more than 5,000 years ago. So this is just another example of an ancient painting found in Greece of people wearing earrings. And so no one really knows why ear piercings started, but it's thought that it was a way to rid evil spirits from entering the brain by giving them a way to slip through the earlobe instead of entering through the ear. And whether that is true or not, we don't know. But a believable myth is that piercing your ears was a celebration of entering puberty in ancient times. And it could also have marked a prostitute, the wealth of a family, the rank of a soldier, or just the status of a person. So here is just another example of ancient Greek earrings. So Greece was really all about how elaborate and expensive their earrings were. So they wore gold or bronze hoops, they added amber beads and pearls, and dangling figurines or coins to make a noise when the wearer moved. They also used some interesting techniques and created new things. So they actually created wide cylinders that encased the earlobe, kind of like the ear cuffs we wear now. So that could be where it derived from. And they also wore like disc earrings, which were in the form of jars with decorative beading. They also created gold backgrounds to make their jewelry sparkle, and they added semi precious stones to create an even more high class look. So during an excavation in Egypt, King Tut was found to have pierced ears when his tomb was discovered, and all multiple pharaohs had tombs that contained earrings, and so these are the earrings that were found in King Tut's tomb. So this is a close-up depiction of a Buddhist saint found in Asia, and this is just another example showing that piercings can be found throughout history and all over the world. Moving on in time from there, this is a 16th century painting showing that people still wore earrings. It was a really great way to show your status because not everyone could afford earrings. But also during this time, earrings did disappear for a little bit because of the popularity of big headdresses and the rough collars like this girl is wearing, and also hairstyles that covered the ears, thus kind of making the use of earrings pointless. They were still around, just not used quite as much. So these are two of the most popular earring styles in the 18th century. Sometimes they were so heavy that women had to tie ribbons to their headpieces and connect them to the earrings in order to relieve some of the weight. So, skipping ahead to the 20th century, earrings really lost their appeal. People were wearing clip ons and screw ons because piercing the ears was not considered very safe. Um, it was kind of barbaric and they didn't have very clean methods yet. But in the 1980s, the ancient practices were all updated and they started using stainless steel materials and found new hygienic processes, and this led to a new popularity of piercings. And here are popular styles for modern day. The big revival for earrings occurred in the 20th century when earrings were accepted for their fashion and decorative value and not for like status, ritual, or superstition purposes. And so this meant that women of all statuses could afford multiple pairs of cheaper earrings to match their different costumes and to create a really put together look. And there were so many different styles. Some interesting ones are like the Spanish hoop earrings, Egyptian styles, antique looking earrings, and a really important hairstyle, the bob, made earrings like a super necessary finishing touch to any outfit. Also, there was a chunk of time when men were not really allowed to wear earrings. It gave them a bad look. And so men began wearing piercings in the mid 20th century as a way of expressing themselves in different cultures, including the hippie and the gay culture. And then the punk rock culture extended ear piercing for men and women into facial and body piercings. So now in modern day, all types of earrings are welcomed and accepted and loved. They go from bold to simple to outgoing to bright colors. And when it comes to present day, there are really no limits to earring styles. Okay, so now that we've talked about the history of piercing, I wanted to go into the adornment details. So, most people consider pierced ears as just like an earring through the lobe, but there are so many different types of piercings that can be done. There's the tragus, the daith, the helix. A really popular yet kind of controversial one is the gauge, which is when you stretch the size of the earlobe out by constantly enlarging the size of the earring. So yeah, there's just so many different types, and they mean different things to different cultures, or in our Western society, it's just because we like the way it looks. The second most popular type of piercing among all cultures is the nose piercing, and then the lip piercing is pretty close in third. They all have different meanings to different people, but they are a great way to express yourself for sure. Okay, so especially in Western society, we really just pierce our ears because we feel like it or because we like the way it looks. We don't think too much into it. But there are a lot of cultures around the world, even in nowadays time, that pierce because that's their personal belief or their religion or a ritual to them. So here is India. India start piercing actually when they're infants. So they get their nose pierced because it is thought that this will protect them from illness and evil spirits. And then most likely later on they will get their ears pierced and also the other nostril. And as they grow older, the nose piercing displays the Indian woman's marital status. So a single or widowed female will not wear nose jewelry. So we've all probably seen pictures of this Mersey tribe in Africa because it's a little bit controversial, the piercings that they do. But when a woman is ready to bear children or get married, she gets a slit in her lip and a disc is inserted. And then every so often, just kind of like gauges, a larger disc is used to replace the previous one so the lip stretches more and more. And because of this huge disc, teeth have to be removed, and the woman has trouble speaking, so she doesn't have to wear it all the time. She just has to wear it in the presence of men. They also do this to their ears and sometimes their nose. Here are just pictures of a few other tribes around the world showing different types of piercings that they do. Every culture has different styles of piercings and what they find attractive and what they find necessary for their beliefs. So, to sum it all up, although ear piercings are the most common practice, lip and nose are close in second and have just as much importance. And piercings can be found throughout history on all continents and bear different meanings to each culture and each individual.